All right, next up we got our breakout players for the week coming up. We're actually just through the entire NFL season so far.
Yeah, because it's our first one.
We've been looking at, guys who have just been absolutely lighting it up, but we don't think that they've been really getting the credit. I'll kick it off. Travis Fulgham with the Philadelphia Eagles for me. Not a lot of guys know this person, but the Eagles have been, they've been looking for that guy, that wide receiver for, years now since Deshaun Jackson left?
The only thing I hear from Eagles fans is how they had the worst drop rate every time.
Well, that was
the
last
first
year
thing I
too.
hear. Last year.
And you know how good Aguilar's been with the Raiders?
I've seen it.
He's been just a great number 2 guy for them. And I don't know. I don't love Carson Wentz. I think he's pretty good. I think he gets a bad rap because he's on a bad team. But this Fulgham kid, he has the most receiver production the Eagles have seen in probably 2 years, I think. Fair enough to say.
That's fair.
He's a receiving yard leader since week 4.
No way.
Since
week 4.
Yeah, and he's leading every wide receiver in fantasy points too.
Wow.
So I think that's a big one. He lit up the Steelers secondary in their loss against them, but who can plan for Travis Fulgham?
No, yeah.
You can't plan for that. And then he won them the game against the 49ers in overtime too. He scored that touchdown to put them ahead.
That's right. They did, yeah.
I just think, you don't really see his, his touch or anything. You don't see his route running, but he just seems to be open all the time in the middle of the field, almost like a zone guy, like a Juju or like a Hines or something like that. But he stretches the field.
Okay.
He stretches the field better than their first round pick, who they drafted to burn, Jalen Rigor. They drafted him to burn burn DBs, and he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't really play because he's been hurt like every other wide receiver, but on that team, I mean. But yeah, I'd say Fulgham. That's my guy.
All right, yeah, that's fair. I got another receiver for you. And you've definitely heard his name now more than any other year he's been in the league. He hasn't been in for long. It's been 5 years or so. Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson, yeah. Not a lot of people have heard about him except for this year.
Well, he was I don't want to talk about his past, but when he was on the Jets, he had a lot of criminal records. And
yeah,
stuff.
that's true. But he was a Jets receiver before he was on the Panthers. Not a lot of people know about that. And he's been lighting up the league under Teddy Bridgewater. Absolutely lighting up the league.
3rd or 4th in receiving yards, right?
I think it's you know what, Travis Kelce's just above him. He's 4th in receiving yards, which is crazy to me. You don't think Teddy Bridgewater's getting a receiver. First off, his duo receivers there are both top 10 in receiving yards. So that's crazy to me already. But Robbie Anderson is 4th in receiving yards compared to he's above D-Hop, he's above
He's above D-Hop?
Yeah, he's above D-Hop.
Well, Diggs is leading the league in receiving yards.
Diggs is Diggs and then Metcalf, I think.
Oh.
So think about that. Think about other top 10 receivers that you know. Robbie Anderson's above him right now in receiving yards. That's crazy to me. Second is I want to say, what is it? He's halfway through the season right now. We're halfway through the season roughly.
He's at what, 800?
He's at roughly 800, and he's only 3 receptions off, and I think maybe 100 or so yards off from his career high. And we're halfway through the season.
It's the Jets effect.
Welcome to the Jets.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just been playing well. You see his games. He's an average of 14 yards per reception, which is high.
Deep ball guy.
Yeah, he's a big deep ball guy, and he has the hands to work with it. And as much as I dislike him, and you can agree or disagree with this, he reminds me of AB a bit.
Oh, I disagree.
Fair enough.
Well, because AB is the best route runner we've seen in the past 20 years.
I mean, that's true. But he reminds me of he's a small dude. He's very skinny. He's taller than me.
Yeah, you want to know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Almost like a Randy Moss without the height and only speed. He's one-dimensional. He's one-dimensional. He's not. He doesn't stand out in any way to a top 10 receiver in the league.
I don't think he's got that same tenacity though that Randy Moss had.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. He's
okay,
a tall,
that's
skinny
fair.
guy
but
who
yeah.
can run fast, like Martavis Bryant.
But
actually.
he catches contested balls as well. They use him a ton because he doesn't have a bunch of 20-yard plus catches. He has a ton of 15-yard catches. You look at him and all of his catches are between the yards of 10 and 20. They use him for first downs all the time.
Huh?
I don't watch first down.
I don't watch a lot of Panthers.
I watched him because he's been breaking out, right? Yeah. I think it's phenomenal for his career.
Well, when Christian McCaffrey got off the field, I kind of wrote that team off.
But they proved you wrong. Well, kind of wrong.
They actually just put up a good game against the Chiefs, like I talked about earlier. So.
And Robbie Anderson was a part of that game.
Yeah.
While CMC was
number 1.
Yeah.
Well, DJ Moore, I think, is a bust. We have a friend who goes to Maryland right now, and he loves DJ Moore.
I don't think he's a bust. I just don't think he's.
He was a first-round pick.
I know. I don't think he's first-round quality. I think he's a second or third, but I don't think he's a.
He's a number 2 guy.
Yeah.
He's a number 2 guy.
He's a number 2 guy, but he's a solid number 2. Regardless, though, Robbie Anderson is my breakout player, and I think he's been doing great.
All right, next up we're going to do Game of the Week. We'll get that up to you next.